Welcome to Sideline Sports. I am your co-host Jake, along with my other two co-hosts, JB and John. Gentlemen, a lot going on. The world of sports is business is booming, as Antonio Brown used to say. There's a lot going on, and I'm not really sure where we want to start. But before we do anything, I gotta get this. Where is it, JB? Before we just started, I mean, this is a perfect segue. This is JB said, "Let's play ball." So I was thinking, let's play ball deodorant. Why don't we?
John, where's your ball deodorant, John?
I don't know where it's at. It's upstairs.
A stupid joke had to be made. JB said, "Let's play ball," so I couldn't help but make a really silly joke out of that. Manscaped code SSN all caps, 20% off. Had to make the joke. Couldn't avoid it. It was right there. It was too easy. Like, come on.
It sounds like some people in the NFL may have forgot their ball deodorant.
All right, hold on. Before we do that, we got one other sponsor, Score No Score. Don't forget that. Check out the Score No Score app. Play against us. This is the last week of football to play. So, well, not this week, but coming up will be in 2 weeks for the Super Bowl when that happens. That will be the last chance this season to play against us in football. So, definitely we're going to want to get it on that because it's a fun app. We have a good time on there.
Yes,
we do.
All right. Anything else sponsor wise? I think we're good. And if that's
no, but case, when you go to Manscaped, use code SSN.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you're doing that. Get your discount.
Where are we starting tonight? Because there's a lot there's a lot of stuff going on.
Positive. Let's start with the positive. Tom Brady officially announced his retirement.
That's
you mean he actually retired this time?
So I just wrote my article for the Inscriber earlier today about how January is like Brady time. Now we can actually enjoy January. I mean, hopefully one day our Giants will participate. You know, maybe our Giants will participate in this whole January event called the playoffs. It doesn't happen very often. You know,
who knows? I don't. But, JB, I'm going to be honest with you, buddy. I don't think so, but it's a nice thought. I like the idea of it.
We can only hope. You know, we can only hope.
You can hope, right? John, maybe you'll join us too. Maybe we'll all make the playoffs next year.
Yeah. Now with the news that we got going on,
we're going to jump right into that, huh?
Well, let's finish with Brady. So, I mean, right now, is there any question he's the GOAT?
No.
Yeah.
John?
There's a
John, you say yes?
Yeah. I mean, just because you have the rings doesn't mean you're necessarily the best.
John, who's better than him?
Wow.
Please elaborate.
I think John just likes to disagree.
I mean, I would rather have Marino. I'd rather have Montana.
Oh, hold on. Don't say a word. Do not say another word. Who is the first person out of his mouth? Of course it's a Dolphin, because who else it would be?
You asked, JB, so I answered.
JB, you know who I'd rather have? I'd rather have Eli Manning. I would much prefer him. You know why? Because he's a Giants legend.
He's undefeated versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
John, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback to ever touch a football, in my opinion. I don't think
maybe.
Find me a better quarterback with more accurate, more consistent statistics. Okay, more rings,
This guy.
Wow,
gets it.
You guys are
You guys are insane. More Super Bowls than every franchise than the Steelers. Yep. More playoff wins than every franchise except for the Patriots.
He was a born winner.
Which he was a part of and won most of those
James
games.
Tatum, you're forgetting Marino doesn't choke. So, yeah, I guess you're right because Rodgers chokes more than Marino did. So, yeah, you're right about that.
Here's the one thing Marino will always be missing, John. The ring on his finger.
So
that doesn't necessarily dictate.
There's no ring to Marino. There's quite a big ring to Tom Brady.
So, hang on one second. This is an important question. Is it more important to be more talented? Because I'll say Marino's more talented than Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Or be a winner and win the Super Bowls. I'd rather have a guy that wins Super Bowls because you can be the best, but if you don't win, what's the point?
But that doesn't necessarily determine if you're the best. I mean, I think it's everything, right? It's your whole body of work, I think.
Right. But John, and what compare everything. Brady has
away for Brady.
Take away all the rings Brady has. He's still better than Marino, statistically speaking.
I mean, it helps when you have a top 5 or top 10 defense every year in your career, basically. That's nice.
He didn't have a top 5 or top 10.
I don't know that. I'm not saying yes or no. I'll look.
You got constantly. You got hit a bunch of times with with some cheating scandals. Like
Wow.
he's not
Wait up.
without his
Hang on 1 second.
asterisks.
I want to bring this up, but he can't win in the playoffs. One Super Bowl with those teams.
Marino can't
Disgusting.
hang.
Please don't ever bring it up ever again. Rodgers, no. Take him and throw him in the garbage like we did last
The
week.
1-5 in the conference championship, Rodgers, that guy.
I'm not saying a word. I'm just enjoying listening to this because it's funny.
James Tatum, I have a lot of respect for you, but this take is just so far off. This is
He probably thinks Nick Foles is better than Randall Cunningham or Donovan McNabb in his organization history. He probably thinks that too.
Of course.
Sorry, I digress. Sorry.
So what's more important, talent or winning?
I think it's a culmination of both.
Okay,
I mean, because Bill Russell had 11 rings, but we don't say he's the best, player of all time in the NBA,
but
right?
He is discussed as one of the best.
We're going to say player talent-wise, Brady is not the most talented. I'm going to
Right.
say that, and no one's going to argue with me.
Well, you asked both, so I said both are important.
Which is more important? Because if you had a choice right now, right, with the same team, we're not telling you who the other 21 people that are starting are, but you have a choice. Who are you taking? You're going to take Marino, you're going to take Montana, or you're going to take Brady right now? Who's going to give you the best shot to win?
I think Montana gives you the best shot to win. That's just me.
Real quick. I'm not even listening to you two. I mean, I am, but I'm just ignoring half the things you say because I'm reading stuff. Are we going to count? We're starting in 2001 for Brady, correct? Or we're going to count then?
Right.
That's when we'd like to start? Okay.
So
I am paying attention to you. I'm just trying to – I'm looking through the defensive ranks by year.
He had 1 year that he went 9-7, his team. No other year did they go under 10 wins. How amazing is that, John?
I'm not saying it's not amazing. I'm just saying, I'm just saying he was blessed with an amazing defense every year of his career. Like, how many quarterbacks get blessed with that? Like Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a top 10 defense. Clearly, if he had a top 10 defense against Cincinnati, they don't lose that game, right?
We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let me do one thing at a time here, gentlemen. I want to talk about that, but I'm also like, okay, I need to look up these stats for us because
let's not even wait up. Hang on 1 second. We're not even going to get into the Matthew Stafford.
This is comment of the day.
This is the reason defensive backs play defense, because that game was over when that pickoff was dropped. End of story.
I agree.
That ball.
That wasn't over. It was a punt, basically.
No.
That was basically a punt, right?
They were down. And
I said that game ended
the interception. But that's why defensive backs play defense. Otherwise, they'd all be receivers.
That guy also had 0 interceptions this year, so clearly that guy can't catch a ball.
John, that's why defensive backs play defense, because they're all a defensive back and a receiver. The difference is a receiver can catch the ball. A defensive back may catch the ball. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. I'm
really
interjecting when I can.
But Matt Stafford's still in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Much to your dismay, much to you saying he's not any good.
Nick Foles made a Super Bowl. Is Nick Foles good?
Matt Stafford was better than Nick Foles.
Joe Flacco.
That's not the question.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. Is he good?
Matt Stafford proved that once he has a real team, he can actually win games. So it's not Matt Stafford's fault that Detroit was bad.
And I give him this. He won despite his coach.
Yeah, you're right.
Despite McVay, he did win that game.
McVay did everything he could to lose that game.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, because I was watching that game. I'm sick to my stomach.
I have no idea how you ran out of timeouts in the third quarter.
We'll
get to that, but I want to hear Jake's stats, because Jake's trying to back me up here, and I love it.
I'm only at 2008 currently. This takes a lot longer than I think you realize. Sadly,
he played 22 years.
What are you trying to say?
It's so far through 08, he's had a top 10 defense almost every year except for 2.
Okay.
Except for 02 and 05. Granted, he did win the Super Bowl in – actually, no, he didn't. Another of those.
Cool. We're not talking about stats, though. We're talking about winning.
I mean, I'm – this is just – I don't know anything, so I'm just looking.
No, you're looking at defenses, but cool saying with stats. I'm not even talking about stats. Forget about stats, because I say talent-wise, Montana and Marino were much better.
Yeah.
But when it comes to winning, and Montana was a winner.
He's 4-0 in the Super Bowl.
But Brady, I mean, who do you have as receiver most years in New England?
We went
I
through
already know what
this.
John's going to say.
John, how many years was that, John? That was very few and far between.
He's going to say Deion Branch and Wes Welker, and he's going to be like, oh, look how great they were.
And
Deion Branch.
So you had Edelman, Branch, Gronk, Wes Welker, Randy Moss for a little bit. That was a very short period of time. Brown was pretty good. So, I mean, it's not like he didn't have talent on there. He just didn't have superstars. He didn't have the killer guys, but he still had some talent. Like I said, defensively, they had a top 10 defense every year. It
wasn't every year, but so far,
you have a chance to win every year. Doesn't matter what your offense is, you have an opportunity to
JB,
win.
I do hate to say he is somewhat right about that. I'm up to 2013, and they're not in the top 15 in literally 3 seasons. 02, 05, and 2011. Not that it makes his point.
If we take
anything else, right? I'm just telling you.
And Julian Edelman, and we put them on the Giants, they're doing anything that they're doing?
Yeah.
Or that they did?
Yeah, I think
really? Really?
No. All right, now you're – John, look, I may be looking at stats and not even on the same screen, but now you're just saying silly things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's right.
There's no shot those guys are nearly as good in New York.
I'm just going to let that Aaron Hernandez comment ride. I'm just going to let it keep moving along and not touching that with a –
So you'd rather have a guy with more talent than a proven
winner. I didn't say what happened. I'm just telling you that he was blessed with more – you know what I'm saying? He had defenses that he could rely on all the time.
36 playoff wins compared to 19 for Joe Montana.
I will say this real quick.
I'm not knocking him. I'm just
Tom
telling
Brady was basically always in the top 10 of his defense, which now that proves John's point, but it doesn't take away anything that Brady did because his defense doesn't score.
And look at the San Francisco D's though, because San Francisco always had a good D back in the day as well. With Roddy, a lot of them. So.
I mean, you were talking about stats. It definitely helps that for Marino and Montana, it doesn't help them, but it helps Brady because, in his era, you couldn't touch a receiver and you couldn't touch a quarterback. In their eras, you could club the receivers. And
John, I'm not even talking stats wise because you put Marino in this.
Well, I was just going by Cool's comment earlier. That's all.
He'd have about 10,000 yards a year passing. He would kill because. Hey, you can't touch him.
That leads to the number 1 seed. Having a lot of touchdowns, yards. That leads to winning more games. That leads to you being the number 1 seed more often. That leads to more teams having to go through you throughout the playoffs, which means more likely to get to the Super Bowl. That's how that works. If you're scoring 50 points a game, you're going to be the number 1 seed, and everybody has to go through you year in and year out, which everybody had to go through the Patriots year in and year out, and that's why they're able to win. If Brady had to go on the road every year in the playoffs, he doesn't go to as many Super Bowls. It's a lot more comfy when you can sit at home and it's the number 1 seed.
I disagree with that. I'm sorry.
How?
Because Tom Brady won no matter where he played.
If Brady was the 4th seed every
year,
didn't get a bye week, had to go.
John. The man won no matter where he played. It didn't matter.
No, it does matter because you look at his playoff runs. Look how many years he was at home as the number 1 seed and didn't have to go on the road for the AFC Championship, the divisional rounds.
You're missing the point. Brady won, period. It didn't matter where he was. He just won. As simple as that.
Did Cool drink the Kool-Aid? That may be the worst. Cool McCain, you were out of order. You're going to be on
telling you how it is.
Commenting.
They just, it's like Matt Stafford. JB just pushes it to the side if it's not in his narrative. That's what happens.
Because he's so good. How many wins did he have with Detroit? Exactly.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault. You're right.
Hold on.
You
literally sat here and told me.
Top 5 defense, right?
You literally sat here and told us.
They win either.
You told us after the Bucs game.
They brought in OBJ, who's another speed receiver. So wait, right? So, but no, that's all Stafford.
But they lost Robert Woods.
Right, and they replaced him with OBJ.
Yeah, but after the Bucs game, you literally sat here and told me that it was Stafford's fault that they almost lost that game. You literally told me that.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, you said Stafford let the ball go over his head.
I said
Stafford
yes,
choked.
He did choke.
How did he choke when Cooper Kupp fumbled, when Cam Akers fumbled, whenever the ball went over his head, when he was calling an audible?
You were the leader.
How's that his fault?
That would not happen under Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady.
Gosh.
Real quick. You asked me to look up 49ers and or Dolphins. What year would you like me to start at?
Do the 49ers.
No, give me a year to start at, though. I'm currently at 1980.
Do the Niners because I know Marino didn't have those defenses.
Yeah, because that was the Super Bowl.
What did you say about Dan Marino, John?
He didn't have those defenses like that every year. You know what I mean? He didn't have a run.
All right,
game.
so let's give me a set of years to look through, and I will tell you. I will
go through
82 to 90.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, is that okay with
83. I guess 83, right?
Well, 82 was, I think, their Super Bowl against the Bengals.
Oh, okay. You're talking Niners.
I will do both Dolphins and Niners.
Well, the Dolphins didn't have that type of defense. That I already know.
Okay. Well, in 82, the Dolphins were the second-ranked defense.
Thank you, Dom. Appreciate that.
And I know.
The 49ers.
I did mention the cheating. It just got pushed aside by somebody at the bottom of the screen. I'm just saying.
And the 49ers, in 82, the Niners were 23rd ranked. Dolphins were ranked second.
So
in 83, Niners were ranked 4. Dolphins were ranked number 1.
And that was the year.
Hold on.
In
84, the 49ers are ranked 1st. The Dolphins are still in the top 10, ranked 7th.
So we're going to say Joe Montana isn't that good anymore because his defense, all his defense.
Hold on. Oh, we're going to keep going by year, though. Hold on. 85, Niners are second. The Dolphins land. Give me 1 second while I find
it seems
12th.
like their defense was better than
12th.
the Patriots.
What do you mean?
Montana's really horrible. They
were ranked higher, more consistent. He's right about that. Okay, in 86, Niners are 3. Dolphins. I have to find them.
Good luck finding them. Their defense was horrible in the mid '80s. It was bad. They wasted that talent with Marino.
26th.
Oof.
This was out of 28 at the time too, mind you.
Okay.
87.
Forgot about
49ers are 3, and the Dolphins are back up in 16.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No.
It's still bad. I think we're seeing a trend. I can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, Marino's teams, when he started, there's a reason why he went to the Super Bowl.
So let's get back to Brady compared to Montana. Let's throw out Marino because now we're going to bring the defense in. So Montana had basically a top 3 defense almost every year.
Yeah, his defense.
He didn't get to the Super Bowl with all those years.
He's 4-0 in the Super Bowl. He never lost.
That's not
4-0.
But that's not what we're saying. We're talking about how many times he made it, though.
And he's the only quarterback to ever start 2 Super Bowls or more and not throw an interception in his career in the Super Bowl.
Listen,
Brady's never done that.
Stafford's going to find a way to blow the game. Just you wait.
We're going to talk about that in just a minute because I have my thoughts on who's winning.
Don't you worry, Dom. JB will say something like, "Well, Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey or Cooper Kupp."
This is one of those times I'm probably going to agree with John. I know
what you're going to say.
I'm sure you do.
I'm going to be right.
I'm sure you have a list of excuses to your left or right, waiting for you on a piece of paper.
Me or JB?
JB.
Matthew Stafford is not the guy I want playing quarterback for my team.
Okay,
great guy.
In a minute.
Great for the community.
Hold on. Let's finish this Tom Brady thing real quick. JB, what were you saying before we derailed?
So are we saying right now, because, Montana had a much better defense, if we're going straight comparison, top 3 basically all those years. He only won 4 Super Bowls. Brady didn't have a top 3 defense. He had a top 10 defense. He only got to 4 compared to how many?
Brady was in 10. I think we're all looking at the same comment.
I was trying to understand.
Listen, when it comes down to it, I don't like Brady.
Neither do I.
I'd rather have a winner.
I couldn't tell.
Jeter wasn't the best shortstop ever. He was a winner. He made plays that were needed to be made. That's why everyone loves Derek Jeter as a Yankee fan.
Sure do.
It's the same difference. There are certain guys that are just winners.
But he's not the greatest shortstop ever.
Exactly.
That's not what we're arguing.
Thank you.
We're asking, would you rather have a winner? The question was, would you rather have a winner
See, John missed the whole concept.
No, but I told you Brady's not I don't.
No, Brady's the best
necessarily
quarterback
just
of all time.
buy that because you say 7 rings he's the best. Like
that's not the only reason I say
that.
Brady's the best. Nobody has more rings, better statistics, better just everything.
I disagree, but
find a better quarterback. I will find a better quarterback. I'd love to hear it.
I mean, like I told you, I think Montana and Marino are better quarterbacks.
Do you want me to go like year by year and compare their numbers?
Well, clearly they're in different eras, like Cool said. They're in different eras. Like, the football was way different.
So what do you want?
But we're not talking stats, Sean. We're talking about wins. A win's a win. Right? So winning was still the same. You score more points than the other team. So
Dan Marino, his stats will never compare to Brady's. Even if I go just X amount of years compared to X amount of years, you pick him, I'll find you that he's wrong, probably. Like that you're wrong.
I mean, Marino's stats were better for his era because, he revolutionized the quarterback position.
But Tom Brady's stats are still the best of basically any era. So what's your point?
Well, yeah, but you also, because of Tom Brady, you can't be. Let's have a logical argument, not talk over something. Like we're 5, okay?
Oh, John, he's got a little.
You're talking.
I'm just messing with you, man.
No, you're talking to me like we can't have a logical conversation.
We can.
Brady's the reason that you can't hit anybody from the knee down, right?
That's
Brady's the reason there's a strike zone. Brady's the reason that the tuck rule happened. Like Brady's the reason these rules exist and that you can't touch anybody.
John, you're missing. So you're bringing in irrelevant facts.
No, it's not irrelevant.
I'm just asking about straight statistics. I'm saying let's talk numbers. Forget everything else. Talk numbers to me. Give me how many years you want. I'll compare the two between age this to this, and I guarantee you Brady was better.
Like I told you, Marino revolutionized the quarterback position.
That's not what I asked. I'm talking stats here. So give me some years.
I mean, show Brady's first couple years of his career. What
how many years? Stats? How many years? We'll start in 2001.
5 years.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brady's first 5 years. Let's compare it to Dan Marino, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Dan Marino had a 48-21 record. Tom Brady, 58-20. Tom Brady had a 61.9% completion percentage. Dan Marino had 60. Dan Marino had 19,000 yards, approximately. It's about 19 and a half. Tom Brady had about 18,000. 123 touchdowns for Tom Brady, 168 for Marino. His touchdown percentage, they're about the same. Interceptions, Brady had 66 and Marino had 80. Yeah. So in all of that, hold on real quick. No, that's not on here. Never mind. I was going to do QBR, but that's not on here, sadly.
Yeah, I don't think they started trying
nobody's
QBR
arguing that Marino is more talented. But the question is, do you want a winner? Because Marino didn't win. Or do you want a guy that wins?
Well, I do think Marino is a winner. I don't think it's his fault they didn't win. I mean, they never built a team around him. They never gave him a run game ever.
And then okay, compare him to Montana then. If Montana more talented, no question. But Montana had a top 3 defense. So there goes your defense argument. Top 3 defense compared to a top 10 defense.
And he won 4 Super Bowls.
Brady's won 7. Next.
But he still won 4. He's still 4-0.
Okay, 7 John. But 4. Anyway, he went 4-0. Great. Yeah. That's fine. But Tom Brady in his first.
Hold on. You're Tom Brady. How many? 4 is nothing.
Tom Brady's first 3 Super Bowls. He went 3-0. What's your point?
But he's not undefeated.
He also went to twice as many as Montana did.
He lost 3 times. That says a lot to me.
Okay, Marino went to 1.
2.
Excluding him. Montana went to 4. Montana didn't even go to as many as Brady won.
Take away a crazy catch on a helmet. There's 1 loss.
Okay, take away the Julian Edelman catch against the Falcons. There's a loss.
Okay, so it's
you want to play that game, take that away.
That's fine. So you take away one, he gains one. We're still at the same point. What's your point? So he's still 7-3.
Listen,
look, I'm just going by his logic.
But you're gonna whatever, John. You're not getting it. It's fine. Listen, you like losers. It's okay. That's why you're a Dolphin fan and a Heat fan.
Okay,
moving along.
All right, you're a Giants fan, but you're not in the same bucket,
Tradition.
right?
How many Super Bowls, John? Super Bowls.
You're in the same bucket right now because your team's
Super
just
Bowl.
a
All right, children, play nice.
What do we got? 4.
Look, both teams are dumpster fires.
I'll make it real simple. Talk to me when Dan Marino or any other quarterback, Joe Montana, won the way that Tom Brady won. Because Montana had defenses like Brady, but Brady won way more than them. I understand you could debate records in the Super Bowls, but you also have to keep in mind how many do they appear in. Brady takes the advantage to that one, so you're bound to lose some when you go to 10. Okay, that's going to happen. So if you want to make the rings argument, it's not a fair argument only because if you put Montana in 10, there's no shot he wins all 10. It's not going to happen. You know that. I know that. JB knows that. Anybody
I don't
watching
know that because he's undefeated in the Super Bowl.
John,
so
you
I
really
don't know that.
So you mean to tell me you think he's going to go 10-0?
Based on his average, yes.
Forget the average. Let's just think logically for just a second. Do you really think that he would go 10-0, never losing one? Realistically, I want you to think with logic, not with what
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. With
I think
him
being
4-0, he's already 40% of the way there.
I think you are absolutely insane then.
Thank you.
Because look, I'm cool with you saying you think he'd win 6 or 7, kind of like Brady did, and I think that's a realistic stat because there were other good teams. Like I think if the Dolphins played Joe Montana and those 49ers that many times, inevitably the Dolphins would have beat them once or twice, realistically. If they, depending on how many times they would play them.
Well, if you're playing like a 7-game series or whatever with a team.
Right. There's my point. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at.
But you're never going to play the same team,
But I'm just saying, let's say they play 3 or 4 times. I think the Dolphins beat them at least once, if not twice, maybe. And that's what I'm getting at. So
yes, I'm clearly a huge Dolphins homer whenever I'm talking about Joe Montana. I think being better than Tom
I'm going to say
this. It's a Dolphins homer. Thank you,
Jim. First words out of your mouth were Dan Marino, not Joe
He's
Montana.
One of the best quarterbacks of all time. How could I not say him?
You didn't say Peyton Manning. You didn't say Joe Montana. Your first guy was Dan Marino, your quarterback. And I understand he's a great quarterback, but when I look at the list of great quarterbacks, he ranks below top 3. That's not a knock on him, but I would pick Brady, I would pick Manning, and I would certainly pick Montana above him. Why?
So
because
Manning,
they're winners.
Who?
They were winners. That's it.
Oh, okay. How was Manning a winner? Because he won a Super Bowl where his defense carried him when his neck was falling apart? Or his first Super Bowl when he beat Rex Grossman?
No, he's unbelievable.
He beat Rex Grossman.
He's 2-0.
He didn't beat Drew Brees. He lost to Drew Brees. He didn't beat Russell Wilson. He lost to Russell Wilson. No, he beat Rex Grossman and he beat Cam Newton. Oh, wait, he didn't beat Cam Newton. Von Miller beat Cam Newton while Peyton Manning just sat there pretending to play quarterback. Don't give me that argument that he's won 2 Super Bowls. Nonsense.
Super Bowls.
Next.
Those words did not come out of my mouth.
Next.
You said those.
Let's go back. Is Eli a Hall of Famer?
No, I told you this before.
Why would you bring that up, JB? You know the answer is no.
He's 2-0 in the Super Bowl, and
he's not
You're right.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
2-0.
He's got a 500 record in his career, and they had to make sure they handed him that last game.
Hold on. So, John, let me ask you this.
Let me
ask you this real quick. Let me ask real quick, because you make a big emphasis on defense, right? Hold on. JB, hold on. Because this is where I got this. Okay. John, you talk about how important defense is, right?
Sure.
Right? Well, no, I'm asking you before I say anything else. You said that defense plays a large part in when a quarterback wins and loses, right?
It definitely helps, yes.
Right? Okay. So we talked about how Tom Brady had a great defense. And look, I'm not talking about him. It's not about him. I'm just saying we talked about that, and you made the point, specifically how his defense really carried him, or you felt that was a part of the reason he won as often as he did.
Definitely.
Fine. So Eli Manning, we've had this conversation before, but he played 15 years, 8 out of his 15, so more than half. his rank of defense was 20th or worse, and only 4 times in 15 years, so that means 11 years, did his defense rank in the top 16, meaning they were at least average for the league or not, if not better. That means 11 out of 15 seasons, they were worse. They were worse than the average defense in the league. Now, I'm not making excuses for Eli.
You do know that they had talent too. You know your defense.
Hold on. Now, I'm not making all the excuses for Eli. I admit Eli has made mistakes. He's not a perfect quarterback. I know that. Okay. I've looked at his stats. I know it all. Okay.
Right.
But you cannot give me the 500 argument when his defense was so just awful for so long.
But he was also an awful regular season quarterback.
No. Hold on. We're just talking about, I asked you about defense for a reason, right? Because you made the argument how important defense is.
Yeah, it is.
So if his defense is garbage, how is he expected to be a continual winner all the time, right?
Look, like I said.
Like Dan Marino is a perfect example. He would be an even better winner, right? If his defense was better more often. But he wasn't. Now, I know Dan Marino is better than Eli. That's not a question. Never going to argue that.
Yeah.
But if you put Eli on those Dolphins, it would be just the same problem because you'd have a bad defense. But if you gave Eli a top 10 defense every year, he'd be looking at better than Dan Marino's numbers in terms of winning percentage.
What I'm saying is his stats. Eli Manning was not a good regular season quarterback. He had 2 runs.
He's not bad.
No, he had 2 runs where he went to the Super Bowl and won. That was it. That's all he's done in his career. The rest of his career, he's been absolutely average. Like, that was the best he's been, is he's been an average regular season quarterback, and he had 2 runs in the 2 runs to get to the Super Bowl. That's it. That's all he's ever done. Everything else, he's been average.
But he's 2-0 with the Super Bowl.
But I'm saying, like, if you're asking me if he's a Hall of Famer and I have to take everything that he is, his entire resume, all he's done, and they're great. The 2 Super Bowls are great. Don't get me wrong. But that's all he's done. There's nothing else in his career that he's done. Nothing.
Right. And you're going to make that argument. But again, you also have to remember.
I'm saying
how bad was his defense every time. Right. But how bad was his defense, which didn't allow him to excel? If your defense is bad and putting you in bad positions all the time, if you're down 20 points per game, as a quarterback, you cannot go out there and play the game that you have to play or want to play.
But it's not like his offense has lacked talent. You know, it's not like the interceptions are his defense's fault.
They were the line, John.
I mean, look, what did James say? He led the league in picks 3 times?
I'm sure. I don't know, but I guarantee you that there are other quarterbacks probably. I know Peyton Manning has done that at least once.
But if you look at his regular season career, he's not a Hall of Famer. The regular season's not Hall of Famer.
Right, but hold on. We're not talking about just regular season.
So you're going by he's a Hall of Famer off of 2 playoff runs. That's it.
I'm going off of all of his touchdowns. He's one of the top in the league. In 15
so is Vinny Testaverde.
That's fine. Good for him.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
That's not the point I'm making. It's not what I'm making. Okay. He's top 10 in most of those categories, like touchdowns, passes completed, passing yards. Okay. You pick any of those other guys.
Give me passes completed. Don't give me that.
His passer rating. I mean, what do you want me to tell you, John? Pass yards per game, completion percentage. I mean, John, he's top in a lot of things. So
I'm just saying, like, his regular season, he's never done anything Hall of Fame worthy in the regular season. Never. It's never been anything where you say, yeah, that guy's a Hall of Famer in the regular season. 2 playoff runs is what determines him being a Hall of Famer. That's not enough for me. Hall of Fame is the best of the best. It's not, you were average for your entire career.
Then why are there guys?
Hold on. I'm not done. So what you're telling me is, how many games has this guy played in the regular season, Jake, if you would?
I have no idea.
Probably over 200. So what
it's
you're saying,
I know that.
So what you're saying is,
I don't know.
Let's just say 208 games in his career, for example. All right. And for 8 of them, he was good. For 200, he was not. Because he's an average quarterback in his career. So you average out his 200 games, for example, and he's not good. He's average. So you're telling me a Hall of Famer is good because of 8 games?
So what makes Matthew Stafford contender if we're going to go by wins and losses? Because that's your theory.
But we're going by his entire resume. We're going by his entire resume, and he wasn't good at all in the regular season, and he's been good for 8 games.
Stats for what you like and dislike.
It's the entire resume, and his resume, 90% of his resume is terrible.
2-0. Montana's 4-0, so he's just as good as Montana.
Hold on. You're telling me 2 games define if you're a Hall of Famer. That's it. 2 games. I'm going to walk off the show right now if you're telling me 2 games define if you're a Hall of Famer.
He was 4-0 in the Super Bowl, so you're just going to assume he's never going to lose. So
he never did.
Neither did Eli.
Oh my gosh. He's been in the playoffs.
Hold on. You got to be careful with your words, John, because we will use them against you.
He's been in the playoffs 2 times. His 15-year career.
Thank you, Dom.
Thank you. I was going to get to that, but I was waiting until John was done because I was going to point out guys like
I'm not even going to touch the Aikman thing right now because I'm already on this and I'm not jumping another direction. So I'm already in this boat. But you're telling me 2 games out of all the games he's ever played make him a Hall of Famer? No, I can't buy that.
2 games.
Sorry.
It's more than 2 games to me.
Well, JB said 2 games.
No. I'm bringing that to the Montana argument. He's just as good as Montana because Montana was 4-0 in the Super Bowl.
4 is way more than 2 Super Bowls. Way more.
Right, but Montana had a top 3
close.
defense as opposed to what was Eli's defense. So we're going to move on from this topic because we're obviously not getting anywhere.
Yeah,
Jake and myself
I can't
are
get
correct.
Through you Giants fans' heads.
It has nothing to do with
It's okay. You are a Dolphins fan. It's fine. All right. Let's move on to this week's games.
We're going to talk Brian Flores.
Hold on. Flores, I want to talk the Super Bowl a little bit first. A little Super Bowl first. We teased it. We got to bring it up a little bit.
I think we're going to talk Super Bowl a lot.
All right, fine.
I think we got to go Flores.
All right.
I mean, how often is it that a guy who was coaching at, this year, week 18, gets fired when he should have been fired, claims that the organization 2 years ago offered him $100,000 per game to lose, allegedly.
Allegedly, right.
And
allegedly
files a lawsuit against the league for their hiring practices. This is crazy. The NFL's got issues right now between that, the Gruden thing. There's allegedly emails between Ross and betting companies and
I hate to say it, but this looks bad on our organization, JB, our Giants, but it also looks bad on John's Dolphins.
And the
John,
Broncos.
I'm not saying that to make fun of John.
No,
I'm
and the
saying
Broncos too.
All 3 of us are in this awful boat where all of our teams are implicated in this pathetically bad situation.
Don't forget
and there is zero way for any of us to get. No, I know the Broncos are involved.
And the Patriots. Don't forget the Patriots too.
No Belichick, I know.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just saying, our organizations, we're all stuck, and this sucks. This is terrible.
This is terrible for the NFL too.
It looks bad.
I don't know what to think of this. I mean, I guess it's like a wait and see with the facts type of thing because you really don't know what's true. But if any of this is true, I think Ross has to be forced to sell the team. I think he has to be, especially the betting thing. I don't see it. I don't see any head.
That's like Pete Rose level stuff. We also lost JB. That's why he's frozen on that. It makes sense now. That's like Pete Rose level stuff. I got it on him. That is, in my opinion, also I agree. That's cause for
that. I mean, because you think about this, the Panthers owner was forced to sell, and what he did was bad. But to me, if you're the NFL, this is much worse. This is much larger when it comes to.
I think.
I mean, what the Panthers owner did was terrible, but when you're looking at the NFL and the Shield, this is the integrity of the game. This affects the bottom line.
I know I compare to Pete Rose, but I feel like that's a standard that's not only set for one sport, but I really do feel like that's set for all sports. That look, if you illegally gamble on a team's game, on your team, specifically your team, really, right? And you believe it to be affecting the outcomes, or someone believes that's it. That's a problem. I'm not saying now. Hold on. I'm not saying I entirely agree.
Which Jake did with the Matt Stafford press conference.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later. I mean, that's on our social medias. You can find that. I don't need to brag. I'll save that for later. But look, I'm not agreeing with Pete Rose not being in the Hall of Fame. That's a discussion for another time. But the point of what I will say is there was a precedent set with that kind of action. And even though, again, it's not football, that's a baseball thing. There is a precedent set in sports. You cannot gamble as an active athlete on your games or really anybody's games, but specifically not your own. And I understand that
you can't be a coach,
the owner's not an athlete, but it doesn't matter about athlete. I just use that obviously because Pete Rose was. But the standard is you cannot do that because it's just if you're doing that, you can basically say, look, go out and lose. We're going to make money. Now, all this is alleged what happened.
That's apparently what Ross did.
Right, and that's alleged, of course.
Right.
And I understand that, but I'm just saying, let's just
to me,
forget
that's worse
who
than,
it is.
To me, that's worse than him partaking in whatever that gambling thing is. Because if you're if you're telling your coach, hey, I'm going to pay you money to lose games, that's worse than Bountygate.
Terrible.
That's worse than Bountygate with, Greg Williams with the Saints and stuff. That's worse to me. I know that you're trying to hurt people in that instance with the Greg Williams thing, but this is like,
hold on, time out real quick. I need to pause real quick because I guarantee you, I know who wrote this, and it was JV 1000%. Because I'm going to show you how. Here's how. I'm typing a message in our live chat. It comes up either as our YouTube or our Facebook. JB. This same comment came up on YouTube. I wonder who wrote this. It wasn't me, and it wasn't John.
I want to make sure I touch this.
I'm just saying.
If Cole is right, we said last week, if David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame, Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. If David Ortiz is not, then Barry Bonds should not. Like Sosa and McGuire should be in. If David Ortiz can get in, like if you put one in, Pete Rose should be in. If you put one in, everybody has to be in. Like, you can't play that game where David Ortiz can get in and the rest can't. He's right. Barry Bonds should be in because
and that's
I said that from the beginning. Bonds should be in.
No, I'm just saying,
we're using this as the point of
right.
If you've set a precedent one way, it needs to stick
across
not only your own sport but other things, and that's the point. This betting thing, if it is to be true, and it's obviously alleged at the moment, but if it does turn out to be true, you're right. He has to sell the team. Why? Because there's a precedent set, right? We know you absolutely cannot do that. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter. That's the way it is.
Yep.
That's it.
And back to what I was saying, I mean, to me, this is worse than the Bountygate thing if Ross actually did this, because you're paying your head coach extra money to lose on purpose. Like that,
allegedly
what kind of message does that send to your organization, your coach, everybody involved, that you're paying your coach to say, throw this game, we'll give you $100,000 per game?
To me, that just screams bad culture.
And
again,
I've never heard
whether
that
this is true or not. Let's just pretend this is our organization that we own. If we did something like that, so we don't have to, I'm doing this so we don't have to talk about the allegedly did this or let's just use us, because we didn't do anything. We don't own a franchise. I wish we did, but we don't. Right. So this is all a made up scenario. But if we did that, what kind of culture precedent are you saying? What does that say? Disgusting. That you're an organization that wants to lose? If I were an owner like that and I did that, I would think people would look at me and say, this man wants to lose. And I wouldn't, and looking on the outside in this fake scenario, I wouldn't argue with it, because that's exactly what the message sends. You want to lose 1,000%.
I think you also have to ask yourself, how many times has this happened potentially before in that organization or anywhere else? Like, has this ever been a thing anywhere else? Have the Dolphins done this before? Has Stephen Ross done this before with another coach? Like,
John,
you have to
I
ask
think
yourself.
Of, don't you? You know what I think? I think of Washington right away. I mean, 1,000%. Deb, please do. That is fantastic. I like that. But no, seriously, I think of Washington right off the bat. Yep. Why? Look at all the problems that not allegedly they've had. We know that they've had problems. Yep. I mean, forget what the problems are, because I don't want to go into what was alleged and what was proven to be true. But we know that they've had issues. Period. End of story. That's a fact. That's not an alleged thing. That's, people know that, it's out in the open and it's been proven.
Yep.
So they are, I would say, they're the model organization for having problems, right? So my immediate thought would be, why wouldn't you look into them? Like, why, what reason would you have to not look into them? And then
I'm just curious.
One of those. Real quick, I mean, that makes me think. You have to think about guys like Sean McVay now, right? And I don't say that because I think Sean is a bad guy. I think Sean's a really nice guy. We talked to him on those press conferences. He seems like a really nice dude, super smart. I saw something on the internet the other day. The man, you could ask him about a play, he knows it. It's unbelievable. But personal stuff aside, was part of Washington. And Shanahan was on that staff too. I'm not saying that they would, but I don't know that they wouldn't. And
you have to ask yourself that now,
right? And and again, I'm saying Washington because they've had problems, but it's just if you look at Washington and then you find out something about them, then the dominoes keep falling. But it all starts with what allegedly may have happened in Miami, and if that's true, the league has really got to look at this. I mean, we talked about this with the whole Raiders and John Gruden thing, right? It's a whole other thing we have to think about now with this possibly.
I just have to ask, like, when this Brian Flores stuff came out today, how in the world did these reporters have all this additional information like that? Like, as soon as the Brian Flores stuff came out, it was like right afterwards they had the yacht stuff, they had the Ross, gambling stuff. They had the tanking stuff. Like immediately, it was like they all had this information.
All this stuff that was allegedly going on the whole time, right?
Because there's people that have
isn't that weird how all that stuff just comes out all at once right after?
I'm not surprised though. I'll tell you.
There are people that have stuff that as soon as they get burned, it's time to hit send.
Yep.
And people that save their stuff and do it strategically, and it may not have been Flores, it may have been somebody else,
right.
in the NFL circle.
You cross the bridge, you burn a bridge, right? Yeah.
Boom. I mean, honestly, with Flores doing this, is he ever going to coach again?
Probably
is that even
not.
possible?
I don't think so.
I don't.
Look, I think Brian Flores is an incredibly smart guy. He is a fantastic football mind. But I saw something to the effect where he said, look, I know what I'm risking. I love my game of football. I love coaching. I love being out there. It means, the absolute world to me. But I know the risk that I'm incurring by starting this lawsuit and alleging people to have done certain things. And
the last guy who kind of made a statement like that in the NFL that sticks out, Colin Kaepernick. Where's he now?
Yeah, I different situation, but absolutely, I know exactly what you mean. But I know exactly what you mean by that. You just mean somebody that spoke out,
became a martyr, right?
and said their mind, and wasn't afraid to speak their mind. And look what happened.
Because he would have gotten a job. He may not have gotten the job this year. It may have been next year.
Kaepernick should still have a job, which is a whole other issue.
But forget about Kaepernick for a second. But Flores would have gotten the job, if not this year, next year. He was looked upon as a great coach. So for him to go and burn those bridges, this is very Kaepernick-like. And look at where Kaepernick is now. But we only got like 10 minutes left. Let's talk some football.
Real quick. This whole thing with the whole racism thing. Look, part of me can totally understand where he's coming from, but like blaming the Giants, for example, and I'm just using them because they're my team and I have a personal opinion. Being upset at the Giants for not hiring you. I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, right? I don't. I saw some of the text between him and Bill Belichick. I saw that, and I don't know all the details, but the Giants to choose to, to get Brian Dable and hire him over Brian Flores, I don't think of that as a race issue. I think of that as just a strategic move for the team. And I can understand.
I don't disagree with you, but apparently, according to those text messages,
there might be something that we don't know.
Right.
So that's why I'm just giving my personal opinion before we move on. But the way I see it, I would have preferred Dable for one reason and one reason alone. The man develops quarterbacks well. From what we've seen, right, with Josh Allen, and John, you've talked about this. Josh Allen was a raw talent. He was a solid player before Dable came in, but obviously as soon as
if that's true, he's not the first. I mean, he's definitely not the first.
Right. So, but
I mean, I think Dom talked about it in our chat about one of the Lions assistant coaches or something every year got basically used to to squash the Rooney Rule in like certain teams, and he just stopped going to interviews because of that.
Yeah, and real quick, to just finish what I was saying.
But it's the Billionaires Boys Club. That's
what it is. I prefer to Dable just because if Daniel Jones has any legitimate shot at becoming a good quarterback, I felt Dable was the guy. And even more importantly to me, I know that Joe Shane is the new GM. I like the idea of two guys that previously worked together in Buffalo coming together, because I do feel like, they have a connection already, right? They work together. They know each other. Well, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but I feel like they will work better together, and it may be for the best interest of the team.
I also think
they did a great job at Buffalo.
You were fighting the clock with Miami because Miami was going to interview him a second time this week, and they were going to hire him. And I think that the Giants rushed it and said, we got to get Dable before the Dolphins do. That's what I think happened.
This was something that was alleged as well. I think it's almost fact by this point.
When I saw those
and that's not right either, but I don't think that's racial by any means. That's the other thing.
Remember, too, the Giants got burned 2 years ago with everybody they wanted to hire, and that's how they ended up with Joe Judge. They got burned with
that's what I think happened here.
Rivera. So, I mean, they wanted Dable, they went after him hard. That was it.
And sometimes that's what you have to do.
And I love the hire.
I think it's a great hire. I love that. I told you. But again, I would have been happy with Flores too. And that's, again, this is.
But you need somebody that can
this
develop
has zero to do anything about race or anything at all.
Zero. But I think you had to.
I do get.
It was a race against the clock. Somebody was going to hire Dable within the week.
The Dolphins were going to once they got that second interview.
Yeah. And I don't think Flores is wrong, though. I mean, if you look at the NFL,
there's only one active African American or black head coach,
and he's one of the top three in the game. It arguably could be number one.
Well, also remember Byron Leftwich should be a head coach, but
absolutely. I'm just saying
not taking the job because he doesn't want to work with Trent Baalke, and the Jags refuse to get rid of Baalke. So
I'm just saying currently,
not taking it.
But I'm just saying, even then, you have
right.
out of 32. You got 2 out of 32, so you got 30 other coaches that. And that's where I think Flores would have any case, no matter what he says, whether it's about him or not. I understand, and I'm fully understanding of that. That I understand with that.
And I mean, I don't know what Deb's talking about, but
did
Punxsutawney, did he die?
I guess.
I don't know.
He's in Pennsylvania.
I know that, but did he die?
John, anybody should know it's you.
No, I know, but I didn't know if he actually died or something.
I'll look it up.
This is the first time hearing of it. But anyway, if anybody has a gripe, because I don't think Flores has a real gripe, this is his first year. He got hired right off as soon as he came out the Patriots, the Dolphins hired him, right? So this is his first go around being a free agent, not getting hired, okay? If anybody has a gripe, it would be Eric Bieniemy or David Culley, because Culley got fired after one season,
right? On a team that wasn't going anywhere,
and he did a pretty good job with an awful roster, and he won 4 games. Like that's 4 more than I thought he was going to win.
Exactly.
I didn't think he was going to win any.
That.
And that was one of the worst.
Horrible move in Houston.
That was one of the worst rosters I've ever seen assemble. And he won 4 games.
I agree completely, and I mean, I don't get. Listen. I guess Flores is upset he got fired. I think
he's upset he got fired and getting a fair chance with the Giants.
And I am sure the NFL does not do a fair job of, hiring minority candidates. I'm positive on that.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
From watching football all my life, seeing what percentage of players are, minorities, and the amount of hires, there's no question about it. How Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job,
No idea.
To this day, I don't understand.
Because Dom can say he's not a legit head coach candidate, but we don't know that. Like, he hasn't been a head coach yet, so we don't know yet. Like, that's only our opinions. So, like, the fact that nobody's given him a shot when clearly he's a really good mind offensively, and it's an offensive league, that has to be a red flag that somebody, is not hiring him. Yeah. And it seems there has to be more to that than meets the eye, because that's a little fishy.
And although the Rooney Rule is a great rule in context, the idea of it is great because you want to have everybody interviewed. Listen, if there's a way to get around a rule and you're a billionaire and you don't
they'll find a way.
You're going to find a way.
And it's disrespectful to the people that you're using it.
Of course. Of course. Like if you're not a legitimate candidate, it's kind of a shame to have to waste your time.
Yep.
All right, we got a couple minutes. Is there anything else we want to quickly talk about, JB? It sounded like you had something, so I want to give you the floor.
Okay. So let's talk about the Rams 49ers game.
Got to make it quick, but yes.
All right. Was Sean McVay trying to throw that game away with the challenges that were clearly on TV? Where
those made me sad.
Maybe he got together with Stephen Ross before the game.
I want to know who is it? Who's up in the coach's booth that's telling them to challenge that? Because how in the third quarter you're out of timeouts in a close game?
Like not even close.
You're out of timeouts in the third quarter of an NFC championship when you're losing.
I mean, he basically tried to lose the game. Like I rip Stafford all day, but listen, the guy did what he had to do. I will respect that. I do think that he almost gave it away, but not as bad as McVay. Because McVay didn't even
give away the game. Jaquaski Tart, sir. How do you miss that? I know you play defense for a reason, but dude, I could have caught the ball. I think.
Yep. And then the Bengals upsetting the Chiefs. Let's give a lot of respect to the coaching staff in Cincinnati. They were getting killed at halftime. They made a huge stop at the 1 yard line. Tyreek Hill didn't get it. Why you don't kick the field goal there? Take the points. Go to the locker room 24-3. Be happy with it. You try a quick play. You don't have any timeouts left. Boom, you lose the half. The momentum's changed. You go into halftime. The Bengals come out like a new team in the second half, and you lose. They made Mahomes look like Joe Flacco.
Look, Mahomes
and Deb,
lost.
We will give you our picks next week when we're in LA because it'll be a good week for Sideline Sports.
The reason the Chiefs lost, I'm going to make it real simple, real quick. Mahomes tried to do it all, and he shouldn't have. He tried to do too much, and as a result, he made bad plays.
Let's not let Andy Reid off the hook because now he's 3-6 in conference championship games in his career. He came up small last year in the Super Bowl, came up small this time. His guys can tend to be undisciplined at times. I mean, Andy Reid, with his clock management, Andy Reid has come up small for his team with the Chiefs and with the Eagles. We saw with the Eagles a bunch. He's 3-6 in conference championships with one Super Bowl ring to show for it in his career. Let's not pretend he has as many championship rings as Mike McCarthy does. And this guy's the all-time great, but yeah, he's 3-6 in the conference championship with the same amount of championships as Mike McCarthy.
All right.
An offensive guru that got shut down. He got swatted like a fly at that second half. It was disgusting.
I have to ask, how do you let Patrick Mahomes decide that you're going for 7 there at the end of the half instead of going for the 3?
I don't understand that.
Because he let Mahomes decide that.
That changed the whole course of the game.
Yep.
You take the 3 there. You have the momentum. Game's over. You go to play the second half. It's over. Yep. You get stopped there. You give them hope. Why give them hope when there's none?
Yep. And they ended up losing in overtime. You don't lose in overtime if you have those extra 3.
Yeah, you're right.
Real quick, did you see the fumble that nobody saw until the replays? Mixon just let the ball go and nobody touched him.
I don't recall.
In overtime, he basically when he got tackled by his own guy or he fell.
When he was going over the lineman or whatever, and he wasn't touching the ground or whatever.
Yeah, he thought he was tackled. He let the ball go. Nobody called it. I don't think it would have made a difference. The Chiefs were DOA at that point.
They didn't deserve to win.
They gave up.
They didn't play like they deserved to win. All right, we're running low on time. I don't mean to cut the conversation short.
That's okay.
Let's go around. We'll start with JB since he's on the bottom today.
JB_ the program. Read me on the Inscriber. New article about how great Brady is. Yes, I said Brady, not Montana. Jon Shearer.
Or Marino.
Yeah, Marino. Anyway. Facebook, YouTube, Sideline Sports, everywhere that's important. LA bound next week. Me and John going to take LA by storm. We're the Super Bowl MVPs. Forget you, Matthew Stafford and Joey Burrow. JB Ellis and Jon Shearer, Super Bowl MVPs. Jake?
That sounds nice.
All right, you guys can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. Most importantly, you can find Sideline Sports, as you'll see across the bottom of the screen, like every single week. Sideline Sports, you can find that on YouTube and Facebook and all of that. Just look that up. Instagram and Twitter is Sideline Sport 1. DBNA Television, the Inscriber magazine, like you said, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and last and really most importantly, this is the most important face, most important place. John, I stole it again. Sorry, not sorry. You're up, man.
But not wearing gold deodorant. Just remember to say that, John.
Fox Sports 1340 AM, Sideline Sports Network, of course. Sports Arena Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 Eastern time. Covering the Washington Mystics for Sideline Sports over here. Bluehawks 13 on Twitter. DBNA Television. Quantum Star Television. You want to find us on there. And, that's Inscriber Magazine. Huh?
Yeah, we're everywhere.
We're coast to coast. We're Mr. Worldwide.
Next week we'll literally be coast to coast.
Yeah. So, worldwide will be, you could listen to us in 165 countries,
we're
something
everywhere.
like that.
Listen, pay attention to that YouTube next week. You're going to be seeing going live. You're going to be like,
it's going to be a big week.
John, JB, and Jake again.
Hall of Fame. I really think I deserve to be in the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. You can put me there if you want to nominate me. However.
Okay, John is out of order, but I don't have the time to pull that up. So everybody, thank you, and have a good one. We'll see you next time. And next time, these two will be in LA. So better be watching out, guys.
California.